All right, Alexander, let's talk about what's going on once again with Armenia and Azerbaijan. And in this case, the fact that Erdogan was moving jihadists into Azerbaijan to fight the war with Armenia. And it was my opinion, and I think it's still correct, that Russia, just looked away from that for whatever reasons they had. Obviously, they had reasons to reinsert themselves in the Caucasus, and they played a strategic chess game there. But we also said there's no way in hell that Russia would allow those jihadists that Erdogan was moving from Syria and Libya to remain in the Caucasus, given the history of what happened in the Caucasus with these jihadists. And sure enough, it looks like Azerbaijan is moving those jihadists now back out of Azerbaijan and back into, I believe, the Syria enclave where they came from. So, this is definitive proof that we were correct as to what was going on before the war started and how they waged the war in Azerbaijan against Armenia. A very, very disgusting thing, if you want my opinion, to the way they did this. But we now have seen the political implications of this. We've seen the peace deal that came out of it, the ceasefire peace deal that came out of this. And now we see that these jihadists are moving out.
That's exactly right. And can I just say, in case people want to know what our sources are, they are both Al Masdar, which is a Syrian website which supports the Syrian government, and the famous Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, which is, of course, well known for being both strongly opposed to the Syrian government. In fact, it's been widely reported in the region, and it seems that 900 of these Turkish-backed Syrian jihadis have now been returned to Syria from Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan has made it absolutely clear to Turkey that it doesn't want them. And over the course of this reporting, we have learnt that in fact it was all along Turkish policy to actually settle them there. In other words, to plant them there as a permanent presence in the South Caucasus, where they would potentially have been a threat to Russia going forward and could have been used by Turkey or by Erdogan as leverage or potential leverage against the Russians. The Russians, of course, were adamantly opposed to this. They now have leverage over Azerbaijan because they've been able to insert their own troops into Azerbaijan and they control all the transport links. We've discussed this in previous broadcasts. And it seems that Azerbaijan, which is led by a secular government, isn't too keen to have them either. So this policy of transferring fighters, jihadi fighters from Syria and Libya to Azerbaijan, to the Southern Caucasus, has now been confirmed, and it has also been confirmed that they are being forced to go. So we have confirmation of both things, both that they were sent there and that they fought there. And in fact, we know how much they were paid, which was, that they received at the moment apparently a partial payment of 10,000 Turkish liras, and they're expecting to receive apparently remaining wages in the coming days. But as I said, they were paid to go, and now they've been sent back. They weren't wanted. The Russians didn't want them. The Azerbaijanians didn't want them. The Turks had intended to keep them there, but they've been forced out.
So, it was a risky, dangerous game, what the Russians did. But I'm sure there's no doubt that the Russians are very careful and they game plan this out as well. They understand the risks involved, but there's no doubt that they looked the other way. They let all of this transpire because we knew what was going on a week ahead of time. We knew that there was going to be a war taking place, and we had reports that Turkey was moving in jihadists. Everyone was saying, no, you guys are freaking wrong, and this is not taking place. Now we know for sure that's exactly what happened. Russia knew what was going on as well, and Russia let this play out up to a certain point. I'm sure they had their lines, their red lines, Once they got to those red lines, they came in, they reasserted themselves into the Caucasus. And now they have basically told Erdogan to stuff it. In other words, Erdogan was thinking, maybe I'll get them in there and I'll keep them in there. And Russia said, not so fast. They have got to go as well. So we were right on that point as well. So it looks like, once again, I think you actually said it in one of the videos, everyone freaking lost in this, except for Russia. And some people said Azerbaijan was the big winner and Turkey was the big winner. The big winner in all of this, at least short term, is Russia. Armenia looks like they completely just misplayed their hand. But on the flip side, the cards that they were dealt was just a shitty hand, because Azerbaijan's military just got completely stacked.
That's exactly right. And that is exactly what happened. Everybody has lost except Russia, which is the big short-term winner. How durable this is going to be, I'm not sure. But you're quite right. Armenia was given a very weak hand. And Azerbaijan has made gains, but it's increased Russian influence over Azerbaijan. And it has not recovered. And this is important to say. It's important. People consistently overlook this. It's recovered a lot of its territory, but it has not recovered all of it. It's not recovered the core region of Nagorno-Karabakh. And it has now Russian troops patrolling some of its key corridors, so some of its key transport links. So in a sense, it's actually ended up becoming more dependent on Russia than it had been before. Erdogan played a big game in the Caucasus, as he always does, but it hasn't worked out for him in the way that was expected. And Russia has come out the short-term winner. Whether this will be durable in the long term, we've discussed and debated in previous programs. We've said that the Russians have probably lost a certain amount of goodwill all round. It may be that in the end, we will see that this was not actually the big win for them that they imagine. There's a few other things to say, actually, which is that it remains controversial in Russia, this whole arrangement. And there was a very strange development. I mean, something I have never seen happen before, which is that there was a meeting, a virtual meeting of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, which Putin attended and Armenian Prime Minister Pashinyan attended. And Putin now is openly backing Pashinyan. And the reason he's doing that is because, of course, he got Pashinyan to agree to this deal, and he's worried that if any other Armenian leader replaces him, then that Armenian leader may not be so willing to go along with this deal. So for the moment, Putin is backing Pashinyan because he has Pashinyan exactly where he wants him. And he said as much. He made some extremely favorable comments about Pashinyan at this meeting of the Collective Security Treaty Organization. And then someone in the Kremlin decided that these comments perhaps went too far and cut them out of the readout that the Kremlin publishes on these sort of meetings. And so you don't see them in the Kremlin's own readout, which is extremely strange. I mean, I've never seen that happen before. And one of the effects is, by the way, that it rolls in Pashinyan's comments about Putin into Putin's comments about Pashinyan without any sort of break. So you don't know when the one end finishes, when Putin finishes, and when Pashinyan begins. Now that suggests that there is still dissent about this policy at the very highest levels in the Kremlin. And there have been reports, I sent you one from Nezavisimiya Gazeta, which also implicitly criticizes the policy. It's a Russian newspaper, and it has the title, Turkey Seeks to Push Russia Out of South Caucasus. And it talks about the fact, that there's Turkish troops in Azerbaijan carrying out demining, and how Turkish controlled Telegram channels are apparently trying to incite local people against the Russian troops and things of that kind. So there are critics of this in Russia itself. They think that this was too risky a game. It may have achieved for Russia big short-term wins, but there's real doubts about how durable it will be in the long term and whether Russia will in the end be the winner. But coming back to the first point of our broadcast today, there's no doubt the Russians have achieved one objective, which they always had, which is to get those jihadi fighters out of the Caucasus. Turkey undoubtedly did send them there, despite the denials, and now they've been sent back.
Yeah. Absolutely. And as we said, Russia in no way will they allow those jihadists to stay there. And that was that. They let them come in, and whatever they let come into Azerbaijan to start this conflict was not under the. It wasn't Erdogan's. Erdogan did it because the Russians let him. That's the bottom line. And now the Russians are going to get rid of those jihadists, whether Erdogan likes it or not. One final point is it's going to be very, very difficult to get those Russian troops out of Azerbaijan or Armenia. So even if Azerbaijan thinks they got some sort of victory out of this, my hunch is those Russian troops, they are not leaving any time soon. If ever, look at Transnistria, look at Crimea, look at anywhere where Russia has frozen. South Ossetia, look at anywhere where Russia has frozen conflicts, and they have their troops embedded there for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Those troops are not leaving.
Exactly right. That's the plan. And can I just say, I fully predict that at some point in the not-so-distant future, we will see a UN Security Council resolution formalizing their presence there as peacekeepers. So the Russians will put their troops in the region and they will stay there forever. Of that, I have no doubt at all. At least that is the Russian intention. That is the plan. And for the moment, both Armenia and Azerbaijan are going along with it. And arguably, they don't have any real choice.
Yeah. And just to wrap it up, it looks like Putin also did a judo move on Pashinyan. Because it looks like that guy was, it looked like he was tilting NATO, George Soros, and now he is pretty much under Putin's thumb.
Absolutely, because of course without Putin's support, he can't survive because he's completely discredited in Armenia. But Putin needs him and wants him to make this deal stick. So Pashinyan is both compromised and at the same time dependent.
All right, Alexander Mercurs, thank you very much. Guys, hit that subscribe, hit that like, go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch. We've got a lot of merch, so pick some merch up. Helps out this channel. And PayPal, Patreon, Subscribe Star. You'll find the link down below.
It certainly does. And can I just quickly remind our viewers of the kind of wonderful merchandise we have in our shop, like magic mugs with the designs of our great friend, the artist Dimitri Economou. And you can see that I'm wearing a marvelous sweatshirt. It's a freezing cold day in London. I mean, it's really unpleasant weather, kind of typical December day. So a long, warm, beautiful Duran sweatshirt is the best possible thing you can have. And this is indoors. So that tells you how cold it is and what a great shirt, what a great sweatshirt this is too. And you'll find lots of other things in our shop, as well as mugs and sweatshirts. You'll find real proper shirts. You'll find amazing hats, many of them with the flags of many countries. You can see this is the British flag there. And you will also find great, wonderful hoodies too. So come to our shop, support the Duran, find us on our platform, support us through Patreon and Subscribe Star, and come to our next broadcast.
All right, Alexander Mercurs, thank you very much. Take care, everybody.